Okay, this is the training video for the Blumhardt sprayer hooked up to the 6430. You approach it, you've got obviously the pin. The jack goes up on here, make sure you pin it up real good. Here is the harness, it's one piece. You wrap it up, put it in this bucket, and that's where it gets stowed. There's 4 hydraulic hoses, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at this inside one here and this inside one here go and run the hydraulic pump, which runs the machine. This one, which is the outside one here, and let's see here, not that one, this one, the middle one here, those control the lift and the tilt independently of each other. If you have a 3-spool system, then it works really good. You put this is the top of the pump, and it used to be labeled here. You can kind of see it right here, top, and this one is the dump. So the dump goes down here to the dump. Top goes to number 2, which is a motor that floats. You want one of these spools that will float. You make sure you put it on motor, which it's on right here. The other 2 can be on cylinder, and cylinder. I just put those on the bottom. The way to lower them is you float it, okay? So if you raise the booms up, like tilt them up, to lower the booms back down to level, you float it. And to raise the whole boom section, you pull back, you lower them back down, you float it. Very important when you're folding the booms up, you want both of those floated so the boom's all the way down so you can fold it up into the transport position. Okay, that's how you hook the machine up. This right here is the primary inlet for the pump. You need to have this on when you're spraying. This right here is the recirculation valve, so it's going to send water back up to the tank and recirculate it to mix up your chemical. Most of the time that's going to be open, the recirculation. As you get to the end of the field, if you got like 50 gallons left in the tank, go ahead and slow that down or turn that off, and you'll get maybe 1 or 2 acres more spray out of your sprayer. This right here is where you fill it up. Hook it up there, open the valve. Underneath the tank is a drain plug as well as a valve. If you've got a leak like on your pump, you're going to want to shut that valve off so you can contain the chemical leaks. Okay, to open the booms, up here is a latch. You open that up and it kind of stows up like this. And then here, usually I tie these booms together with the strap. I've already untied it. So when you're going down the road, you don't want the booms coming open on yourself. So make sure you do that. This little latch here, sometimes will work, sometimes it won't. Pull that down and the boom comes out. Boom comes out, boom comes out, boom comes out. Boom complete. And then you pick up this right here on the end, lift it out of the cradle right there. When you fold it up, make sure you don't pinch any hoses in that little cradle right there, this cradle right here. So just make sure you don't pinch any hoses. Boom comes out, and it sucks because you have to do this manually, but that's it. Okay. All right, the actual nozzle sections are pretty easy. There's spare parts in the box on the front, and I also have a box of spare parts for the Blumhardt sprayer. You've got a hose clamp, clamps this thing down. There's this little support piece that clamps onto this piece. This is a elbow, and then your tip goes on there. Your tips will get plugged. To clean them out, you take them off here, and then you clean them out. And you fix any leaks along there. Pretty straightforward. Let's go over the electronics right quick. It's controlled by 3 solenoids here. 1, 2, 3. Usually they work. If they don't work, you just need to take your wires, tap them, see if you can get them working. Okay, 2 wires. There's one that's ground. So this is common between all of them. This one, the red one, and then the black, the yellow, and the green control each one of them, okay? That goes to the harness. I don't know if the pressure meter works. We'll see when we get in. Okay, let's get in the tractor. Show you how I work this. I don't have my other boom unfolded, which I wish I would have. Let me go ahead and unplug this harness so you see what it looks like. Okay, so with the harness, don't try taking anything else apart. This goes with it, as well as this plug on the end. All of this goes in that bucket outside, okay? So that plug will go into your plug inside your tractor. Let me do this. right quick. Got a little tangle on me going on. Okay, this is dummy proof, the harness. When I say it's dummy proof, you can still mess it up. But there is a large section there on the very top, you see it? And it goes in the large section inside the I guess that's the female side of the receptacle. So line those up, give it a nice little twist. You shouldn't have to force anything. And it screws in nice and tight. Go ahead and plug your thing in to the outlet here. Okay, now let's test the solenoid. So turn this on here. Powering up. Okay, it's powered up. Okay, so test the solenoid. This switch here controls all the booms at once. These 3, 4, and 5 control your booms. Left, middle, right as you're driving. Okay, so I'm gonna flip number 5 and you're gonna listen for the solenoid. Hear it? Test number 4. Test number 3. Okay, you should have heard a click on all those. I don't know if you heard it or not, but it did click. Okay, so that's how you run the thing. Let's go ahead and start the tractor up. Okay, remember I have the pump on number 2, and you push that forward to run the pump. Oh shoot, I forgot about that leak. I should have fixed that. There's that little clear hose that goes on the top. I'm gonna pause the video, I'm gonna fix that, and I'll get back to it. Okay, back in the tractor, show you the booms. I went ahead and pulled those out. So to lift it, I just got it set on number 1 right now. This is the lift cylinder. That's in the very back. I'll pick the boom section up all the way. I always run it with it all the way up. Unless I'm going by somebody with 2,4-D and I don't want a lot of drift, I'll run those up like that. This right here is the tilt function. Only one side's working right now. This is on number 3. It'll tilt your boom up. It's supposed to be that both of these booms pick up, but that one's not working right now, so I'll fix it. Let's see what's going on with it. And that one over there is kind of jacked up looking. I don't know what's going on with it. That's that. Let's get back to the motor. I'm gonna run it. Oh, got a good leak down there. We're gonna have to fix. Let's see if this thing will work on PSI. Yep, PSI is working. It's a little bit high. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that down after I check see what the pressure is when I run it. Yeah, just put the boom nozzles on. It's running 14, 15. It should increase now. You'll start seeing water coming out of the nozzles, which it is. And it is. And it is. Okay, so actually that's kind of running a little bit low. I want to run at about 30. And I don't have nozzles on those two, so that explains that. That's probably why I don't have high pressure. I need to put those nozzles on. But other than that, it works. And then you shut it off with the switch. So off, put that on, and I'll start putting out. Okay, so I'll fix the pressure by plugging those up with the actual nozzle. Now I'll increase the pressure on here. So if you want to see the pressure, you just push this button here until you get to where you want to be. Okay, so that's that. All right, so flip that off. All right, now let's go over the GPS. And I want to stop the video here, and I'll do this as a separate video for it. Okay, here's the GPS for that we use for these sprayers. It's really simple. Plug it in. There's 2 plugs. This main plug here, and there's also a patch antenna, which is like a coax cable. It goes around up to the roof. And in this tractor, you can open it up and you can adjust it. There's a little piece of metal plate that is taped to the roof right in the center. It needs to be there. Looks like here I spliced it, which you can do if you're good. Okay, so turn it on, right here. Still booting, still booting, still booting. Okay, so it's starting to come up. Maybe you can see it a little bit. And it'll brighten up here. Now it's brightened up. Now at this point you can adjust your boom width. To do that, you hit this button. Right now it's set on 90-foot booms, which is majority. So push the minus sign. Oh, what happened? That's mad at me. Let's let it come back up. maybe the dimming switch needs to be brightened up. There we go. Yeah, to increase the brightness, put this, and your plus sign. Now I'll increase the brightness. So that's your boom width. I'm gonna reduce that down to 60. This is a 60-foot sprayer. 60-0-0. Okay, that's where it needs to be at. So you can adjust that for any implement you're using. Fertilizer spreader, sprayer, plow, drill, doesn't matter. Ask us what the width is, and that's what you set your width at. Now, this light is red right here. That means you have no signal. So you gotta wait for that line to turn orange. You can set a line at orange, but it's not the most accurate. You really want to wait till it's the green. There's the green. Okay, so now it's ready to set a line. So what you do is travel along a fence, which I'm not along a fence right now, but imagine that I was. So I'm just gonna drive. I'm gonna flip this tractor around right quick. I'm just gonna get a straight line just at random. But usually what we do is we drive along the fence with that boom, get as close to the fence as you can without hitting it, okay? And once you're at that point, you'll hit the AB button. This is gonna turn to B. You're gonna pull away a little bit away from the fence. You don't snag your boom on a fence. You'll drive to the very, very end of the fence, assuming it's a straight fence. You have to have a straight line. At the end of the thing, you're gonna tilt in a little bit, or come in a little bit towards that fence where you're just about to touch it. Then you hit this button again, and then you got a straight line, okay? And the reason why you get close to the fence is so that you don't have any skips in there. You'll have a little bit of overlap, like 6 inches, but not that much, okay? So now I got a straight line. There's two options. You can have this option, which tells you to go left or right, or you can have this option, which is what we prefer. It's just a straight line. So watch as we do this. So I'm at the end of my row, and I try to stay in the tracks of my outside pass. So imagine this is my outside pass here. So I'm in my outside pass, and I'm looking at this thing, and see I'm on a diagonal now to my turn row. It's a lot easier when it's at 90 degrees, but it's a diagonal. Go a little bit faster because it's taking too long. Still driving, still driving, still driving. Okay, right here I can probably start turning. Usually when the tip of that triangle hits your line, you can start turning. And then you turn back in on your line like this. Okay? And you try to drive as straight as you can. And you can adjust it. You can see it has these lights up on top. You want to be right in the blue. You don't want any lights off to the side. You can adjust it that way. Now if you go back to this setting, see it tells you which way to go a little bit. So you do that. I think I weave a lot more doing that, but you might be better at it. So I don't know. It's up to you. Do whatever you prefer. But to toggle between them, just hit this. Now what you don't want to do is hit AB by accident. Then you mess everything up. I think, let me see if I can figure out how to do this. I think you hit this, plus sign. Nope. Nope, hit. Yeah, hit, so that doesn't do it. You have to hit these two at the same time. No, that's not it either. Maybe this and plus sign. Yeah, this and plus sign. Hit the arrow and plus sign, and that'll get you back so you don't screw up your line, okay? If you do screw up your line, you have to find your old pass that you made, like find your old tracks, and then just reset your line at the start and the finish of a pass, and that'll get you to your straight line again, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. That's how you run the GPS. Now, when you're spraying, you'll, let's get back on my line. First line I made, I guess. Okay, when you're spraying, you get on your line. It'd be a lot easier going the other way. But what I do is I have all my booms on. The 2,4-D is probably just easier for you not to mess with the 3 in the pasture. Like on this field though, where there's a diagonal coming in on my turn row, that's when I'll use all 3 of them. So like right now, my sprayer is gonna have some overlap. So I'll turn off that left boom by hitting this one as I travel along. And as I get closer to my turn row, I'll turn off the middle one. And then as I get closer and I get in my tracks, I'll turn off the right one. So if you do that on like a diagonal turn row, like we just had. Okay. So let's go back on our old track, and it's gonna be similar. I'll have this thing on, all the rest of them are off, and I'll start making my turn here, making my turn back on the old road. You can see my old pass there, so I'm just gonna follow it. So I'm gonna get more compaction than I have to. And I'll turn on the left one first. As you can see, it's not in the turn row. And I'll turn on the middle one, and then I'll turn on the right one. Okay, you only need to do that on like a diagonal turn row. Okay, you don't need to do that on 90 degrees. So we're approaching the 90 degree here. This is a lot easier, and honestly, you don't even really need to worry about the diagonal turn row in a pasture. With 2,4-D, you can just use the one master switch. Come to the end of your turn row, and still driving, and speeding up. What I like to do is I'll go about 6 miles an hour. You can probably go 6 to 6.5 in the pasture, depending on how bumpy it is. You're getting to the end of your turn row, and you downshift, start turning, flip off your switch all at the same time, get back on your tracks here, then look at your GPS, wait to make your turn, and make your turn, get back on your next tram line, and then once you finish your turn, flip on your switch, and then you'll be spraying again. And that's how you do it. I got one more thing to show you that's kind of handy. Okay, the last thing to show you, and this only applies to this tractor, it's really nice. You can count acres with it. Go to menu with this, and then you'll use this dial up on top to navigate through the menu. See, I'm using that dial. You go to 1, 2, 3, and there's a check mark here. Hit that check mark. And that's your acre counter. Now you need to adjust it to 60 feet. So you use your dial again, you go to that little arrow there, click it. And this little number here is your boom width. Scroll that down to 60. Enter with the check mark. And you'll scroll down to the arrow. And then your new fields, you need to delete that. This is where it's tricky. So don't delete your area unless you want to, you know. It's really easy to delete your area, so be careful with that. And hit check mark. And if you want to, you can do this, doesn't really matter. But to apply, so right now, it's not counting acres. But when you hit the check mark here, the tractor, see that arrow switched down? That means you're counting acres. And then if you really want to be accurate, when you hit the turn row, you can turn that off. You don't need to worry about that in the pasture. But in the pasture, you can probably plan on getting about 70 to 80 acres off a tank of this. Spraying about 10 gallons an acre at 30 pounds. 30 pounds, put out about 10 gallons an acre. That's really it. If you need to change something outside, if there's a bad leak, you know, turn off your pump if you have to. If it's just like a nozzle or hose, you can just turn it off here. These things, turn off your solenoids. Wear chemical gloves so you don't get chemical all over yourself. 2,4-D messes with stuff, so try not to get 2,4-D on you. And it wouldn't hurt to have a water jug to wash your hands off with if you do happen to get some chemical on you. And that's really about it. Other things to look at are trees and pastures. You want to dodge them because they get hung up on your hoses and they rip them up. You gotta watch your booms on hillsides because they will get stuck on a hill and bent back, and then you have to go outside and reset them. It's a pain. Look at your hydraulic hoses, make sure they're good, not spewing oil everywhere, just looks and leaks anywhere in general. And the other thing that I like to do is this one right here on your tractor. Make sure that's on the transmission temperature, which it is. To select that, highlight that, hit the check mark, and you'll see a list of stuff, okay? This right here is the transmission temperature. Select that. If this gets over about 195, you need to lift up your boom, open up your radiator, kill the tractor, gradually open the lid so it doesn't boil over on you, and you need to put some water in there, which usually I carry it inside behind the seat. You need to carry some coolant with you. We're using the yellow type, the Shell yellow type, I think is what we're using in this tractor. Carry a gallon with you because this thing, when you run a hydraulic motor, it heats up this transmission oil really hot and it'll overheat. It overheats at 210, but if it gets over 190, you need to stop and go ahead, take care of that. Very important. I think that's it on this sprayer. It's pretty simple. Hopefully this helps.